So, hello everybody, back again. Today we're going to do another What the Fuck moments, and we're going to talk about our most embarrassing stories because I feel like we've told these to other people before and they seem to get quite a kick out of it. And now that these years have passed, we can talk about it now without being embarrassed anymore. They're just funny.
Yeah.
They're just hilarious. So that's what we're going to do today. And feel free to please reach out with yours and we will anonymously, if you choose.
Mm-hmm. I feel like mine's like
out.
every girl's nightmare.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That may have sounded really bad.
I know. Now I'm curious.
It's not that bad.
You don't know what yours is.
No, it's not that bad. But I mean, it was definitely a moment of like, oh, gosh, this just happened to me. Like, did this really just happen?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was classic Danielle, though, for sure.
Mine is more of I embarrassed myself. I mean, the moment I realized what happened, it was around coworkers, and that was embarrassing. But more so, it's really funny and shocking that I didn't get hurt in this process.
Yeah,
you know? Sure. Okay, so here we go. A number of years back, actually, very many years back, when me and Danielle, when we first met, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When we were working together in dental office, and I went. Okay. So a little backstory.
I think I know what this is.
A little backstory here. I am from the DC area. Very city girl. Okay. Parents are city people. Didn't do any camping or any things like that. Very familiar with very suburban and, just city life. We just don't know. We weren't very nature people. So I moved to Phoenix by myself. And a lot of new things to see, a lot of open land, a lot of quiet. It was actually, I had a hard time adjusting to how quiet it was. I'm used to hearing sirens and traffic and all these things, and that's normal for me, and I feel comfort in that. But the quietness at night was just crazy. So anyway, I lived in this part of town where I was near a reservation, and so a big open desert, and the road I had to take to get to my house was pretty desolate?
Yeah, right, I mean, it's different now, but yeah.
It's different now, but then it was pretty wide open. So dark. I'm driving home. It's dark out, and I see a dog in the road, walking, not hurt, but just walking down the road. And like I'm telling you, it was near a reservation, so half of the road was just wide open desert, and the other half, there were some houses like further away. So, of course, wildlife is to be expected to be seen there, but this dog was like in the road. Me, I will rescue and try to save anything because I just love all the animals. I don't care what it is.
Anything but a spider.
Anything but a spider. Yeah, absolutely. I've even rescued snakes. I just don't care. Yeah, that's what I do. Anyway, I see this dog. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can figure out where a shelter is and take this thing. So I pull over and I get out. The thing turns around and looks at me. It's a bit away, maybe a couple car lengths away. And I didn't want to scare it off, right? Because I didn't know it was going to go out in the desert and get attacked by some wild animal itself, right? So I'm like, I better get this thing first. So I'm like, how can I lure it to me? Because it looked scared. It looked skinny. It looked hungry. I'm like, oh, I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in my car. And I had a cheese stick.
Of course.
Yes, a string cheese and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that I didn't eat. So I'm like, I bet you that'll work. Peanut butter's strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
It'll attract the attention
What dog
of
doesn't
anything.
like peanut butter?
So I pull this thing out and I open the bread slices so the scent travels.
I can't even take you seriously right now with this story.
And I open it up and it starts walking closer. I'm like, yes, that's right. You can have this. And I'm holding it out. I throw half of it on the ground and it's just moving forward. It's moving forward. I'm like, okay, it's getting closer. And I'm like, I'm trying to assess, like, is it like vicious?
Is
what
it
kind
hurt?
of dog is it? It's like, it's kind of like a German Shepherd mix or something. I'm not sure what. Yeah, it wasn't hurt. It was skinny. I'm like, you're definitely hungry. That's why you want the sandwich. So I had half of it on the ground. It's walking towards me. Then I start, slicing up the cheese and throwing it, and it caught a piece and it ate a piece. And it came closer, took the sandwich, came closer for the other half. And as it gets to my car, because I got the back door open, of course, to let it in, right? And I
imagine
I have the back door open. It gets to me. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, wow, I've never seen a dog like you before. You look a little crazy.
He was an Arizona dog.
It was an Arizona dog. I'm like, okay, you're different. Well, it gets real close and it almost gets in the car. And I can't remember exactly the moment. It was a combination of me. Maybe he is wild dog, like could be sick with something. He just had this look in his eye, and I wasn't sure. I'm like, oh, what do I do? And there was literally, this was before, I had cell phones, but I didn't know who to call at this point. It's at night. And it didn't look 100% right. And then I think, actually, that's right. There was a sound. Something happened off in the distance, and it kind of startled it. So it turned around and then looked back at me so quickly. And I'm like, oh, something's not right with you. So I was like, I'm sorry, I can't take you. But it was like right by my door. So I left the food, and it was eating it. And I got in the car, and I cried all the way home because I felt awful. I didn't take this thing, and I didn't know who to call to help me. And but anyway. Fast forward a little bit, I go to work the next morning, still upset. And I go in, and we're getting ready to start a surgery. And I can't remember who's in the room besides the surgeon I was working with that day. And we were getting the patient prep for anesthesia. And I can't remember if you were in the room or somebody else was in the room with us besides us and the patient. You know, small talk. How was your night? Oh, it was good. How was yours? Oh, I don't know. Last night I
tried to rescue a dog.
Tried to rescue this dog on this road, and I feel so bad. Anyway, I go through that story, and all I see, and he's already dressed for surgery, right? He's got a mask on, he's got a cap on, he's in gloves, and I just see his face get redder, like the part of his eyes, just he's getting redder. He starts shaking, like he starts laughing. I'm like, what is so funny? Is it that weird that I was trying to rescue this animal? He's like, I'm pretty sure you tried to rescue a coyote, Lisa. And I just stopped.
Oh my God.
And I just looked, and he's shaking his head and just laughing. I'm like, he's like, did it look? And he described it to a T. And I was like, he's like, you didn't know? I was like, I'm like, I've never seen one in my life. Why would I? There's no coyotes in DC.
No, but imagine it getting in your car. Like, looking back at that day.
Yeah. I would have been on the news, guys.
He would have owned you.
I would have been on the news if it didn't like kill me. I would have been on the news, or I would have gotten rabies, right? It might have bit me in the back of the head when I ran out of peanut butter and jelly.
I mean, it's not like a backseat murderer.
No,
just a dog.
If it was rabid, I don't know. I'd like to think I would know if something was rabid.
That got real dark, real fast.
I know, but could you imagine? My goal was to get that thing in my car and start driving and figure out where I can find a shelter. If I'd shown up to a shelter or a vet with this thing, I would have been on the news and a laughingstock of the city I just moved in.
I think it would have been perfect.
It would have been hilarious.
Like you would have been in like one of those like Guinness Book of World Records, the only person to have ever rescued a coyote.
I felt so stupid. But I never know. I didn't know. My intentions were good, guys. My intentions were good. I gave it food. It was skinny. So I did something right.
I think they're all kind of skinny. I don't think that there's like a...
They probably get extra exercise, huh?
Well, they live outside in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would feel like that's like a life of only exercise.
Hunting and
no
gathering.
life I want to live.
I know. Yeah, on the food chain.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. But yeah, that's my embarrassing story.
I don't think mine can hold up to that. Mine's funny, but it's not that funny.
For years and to this day, if somebody sees a coyote, they feel the need to take a picture of it and send it to me.
Fair.
It reminds me that it's a coyote. But anyway, that's mine.
All right. Well, I'll share. Like I said, I don't think it's gonna hold up to rescuing a wild dog. But
now I know.
So, some years back, I would say it was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. I was traveling, and so I was in a different state, thank God. And
were you alone?
Yeah, I was alone.
Okay.
So I went from like my hotel to a grocery store. I needed to pick up a few things before I headed into the office I was going to. And I walked into the store. It was very early in the morning. Mm-hmm. And first I parked the car, and I parked the car like up in the front. Mm-hmm. I'm in a rental car. So here's part of it. Okay. I'm in a rental car, and I'm not used to having to like carry my keys around, like the keys, right? Our cars, like we push a button and they start because our keys are on us somewhere. So I had to keep the keys like somewhere where I knew where I was going to be able to like get them from.
Sure.
And so I walk into this grocery store, I pick up the items I need, and I shit you not, I see maybe 2 people in this whole grocery store. It's early in the morning.
Oh, okay.
And I'm dressed for work, so I'm in a skirt, and I've got like wedges or like heels on. So I'm dressed nicely for this meeting I'm going to. And I check out, and I check out myself through self-checkout, and I walk out of that little self-checkout aisle, and I'm like digging for keys.
Okay.
As I'm digging for keys, I'm trying to walk at the same time. So I'm walking, digging for keys, holding grocery bags, 2 of them. And Danielle goes down.
Stop.
I swear. I swear.
Like face down?
No. So So you know those videos of models who are like walking in high heels?
Like baby giraffes? Were you baby giraffe?
And they just fall. Like they disappear. It's basically what I looked like.
Oh my god.
And I'm on the ground. I'm like probably red right now just even thinking about this.
Yeah.
I'm on the ground and I'm looking around.
Your skirt.
My skirt. Nailed it.
Wow.
Yeah, so my skirt is up. I'm on the floor. So I just very collectively grab my things.
You were inside?
I was inside.
Security was watching.
Yes. So think like by customer service, right? Like there's like the customer service counter.
Did anyone help you?
No. Like I said, I only saw like 2 or 3 people in the entire store the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
So I look around, I fix my skirt, I stand up, I decide if I can walk in these shoes anymore. And just so everyone knows, I've been very careful about wearing shoes like this ever since. Like, I'm like, I can't physically walk, talk, and do anything else in shoes like this. So I get outside, find the keys to the rental car, and go to unlock the car. And it's like the butler from Mr. Deeds pops up behind me and he says, "Ma'am, are you good?" And I was like, holy shit. Someone saw that whole thing and didn't say anything to me there.
No.
But he's chuckling at like, because I'm parked in the front, so I'm by like a cart thing. He's, "Ma'am, are you good?" And I was like, "Yes, thank you very much." Shut the door. Out of this god-awful state. I don't want to come back here ever again. I'm embarrassed.
Oh.
You all just saw, like, probably everything because I was in a skirt. Nicely groomed, but everything. Yeah, no, but it's like, I was like, what? How in the world do you pass by me, see this happen, and then wait till I'm like so vulnerable in the parking lot to be like, "Hey, bitch, are you okay?"
I am now, but thanks for being there for me in my time of need.
Gosh. I died. I just can't imagine what I would have done had that been a more full grocery store. But I for sure have been more careful about wearing those shoes.
Yeah. That's awful.
I mean, I'm pretty much always in like sandals and leggings and a t-shirt. So
secure items that
very
stay
secure
on the body.
Yeah. Birkenstocks are my jam.
Should you fall?
Yeah.
I've had that happen. That's awful. That is awful.
I literally, when I think about what happened, I replay those videos in my head.
You get re-embarrassed.
And I'm the model. Like, I am the one like that can't get my feet one in front of the other. And I'm tumbling to the floor.
You see, like, the crumbling building start to go down.
Every woman out there knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, my foot just rolled a little bit one way or the other.
And it all went south from there.
I mean, I went south for sure. Like, I went down. And I'm not like, it was probably one of the more embarrassing moments.
That I've had that happen too. I was not in a skirt. I was in high heels, and I was in stiletto heels. Not like 5-inch, like crazy heels, but like a high heel, like a pump.
Yeah.
Right? And I was in Chipotle in downtown Phoenix.
Oh, shit.
Now, I was in jeans, but I was also wearing a uniform shirt. And I'm not going to say who I was working for at that time, but I was wearing a uniform shirt.
I know who you were working for.
Yeah. And so that made it worse. And it was lunch hour and it was Chipotle. They're always busy.
And they're busy with specific kind of person.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes, exactly.
And your uniform shirt would have given you away
yes, immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I fell. Now I walk in and it happens immediately. And I'm like, what the heck? Now, yeah, I'm in heels. Okay. And that's the first thing ever. Now I'm on the ground. I look, I'm like, what just did that? I used to be pretty great at walking in these things. And there wasn't like a wobbly, if anything, I would have fallen on the street walking there, like the cobblestone kind of street.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. When I stepped in the place, so I looked down at, when you walk in, the trash cans were right there. And I look and there's a pile of grease on the floor. So somebody had spilled something there and then wiped up the food, but didn't clean the floor.
Grease.
So it was slick. So that's actually what I tripped on. Now, had I been in sneakers, would I have also tripped? I don't know. It was pretty slick. But of course, I'm on the ground. Everybody's still eating. They turn and look at me.
Stop.
And then they turn back and I'm staying there. So what happened was I fell and I landed on my hip just right. Now, quick backstory. I've dislocated my hip twice. And since then, it's pops out sometimes just
You're
a little.
basically like an 80-year-old woman.
Basically. Yeah. My future's not looking great.
It's not often you hear people dislocating their hip.
Yeah. And I did that years ago. And it was just partial. So they were just pop it back in. But to this day, it slips occasionally. And when I fell that day, and the ground was hard and I landed on that hip, it popped a little bit out. And I knew I could feel it. And I tried to get it back in myself because I usually know how to do that. But I couldn't. So I had to get help. Okay. And
please tell me how you got help.
Do you think I was going to, well, first of all, none of these strangers in Chipotle. I think some people like stopped chewing long enough to be like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah. And they just kept like eating and then looking back, but no one was like offering to help me. And I sure as heck wasn't going to ask some random patron to pop my leg back in its socket. It's a process. So somebody walks over. Do you need me to call someone for you?
Can you just get me up off the floor?
I said, I couldn't because I knew it was slipped enough to that point where if I tried to stand on it, if it didn't pop back in, it was going to pop out worse and I was going to be in big trouble. So I knew how to get it back in, but I needed a second person to do it. I'm like, I guess you better call the paramedics, but tell them it's not an emergency. I don't want lights and sirens showing up to this place. I just need someone to hold my leg and steady me in just a way and pop it back in. They'll know how to do it. Just call them. But literally, I'm laying on this floor until they show up in the middle of lunchtime, downtown Phoenix, waiting for these fools to show up.
No way. I would have been like, put me on a gurney and take me to the back, please, or put me on put me on one of your cook trays.
Yeah, it was one of those things I couldn't move. It was going to put me in a worse situation, possibly.
Can you please drag me to the kitchen by my armpits
and give me some guac and chips?
I'll have a chicken quesadilla.
Yeah.
And some chips and salsa.
And then to make matters worse, while we're waiting for these paramedics to show up, this kid I turn around because I feel like a presence hovering over me. And I look and this kid's just standing there straight-faced holding this mop. But I was in the way of him cleaning it. Instead of him waiting until I left, he's just standing there.
Imagine if the boys would have walked in for lunch there.
I think this is before I met them.
At that same moment?
Mm-hmm. Before I knew you guys, but before
right.
Yeah. But but
imagine,
they probably would have turned around and left because they would have been embarrassed for me. So I went from, I was humiliated, but more so I became angry because nobody was trying to help me. And and then one girl, she's like, oh, those heels are the worst. I'm like, yeah, usually. But look at this big grease stain here. This is what did it. Not me. Oh, yeah, it was probably the combination. I'm like, no, it was grease stain. It was not my shoes.
I know how to walk in these heels.
It was bad enough that I had fallen. But then the fact that I was wearing those, everybody kind of wrote me off like, oh, idiot, that's what you get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so embarrassing. But the embarrassment left quicker because I was angry at everybody for not helping. Well, the paramedics show up and I tell them what's going on. Like, okay, we know what you're talking about. We know how to do this, but if it doesn't work, we have to take you to the hospital. I'm like, that's fine. So now I'm laying there and now I have to lay back on the floor, which is ew.
Gross.
Right. But we had to, couldn't move me. And they had a younger paramedic. This is really funny. And they're like, okay, you stabilize our hips. So they had to hold down on my hips. And then the other one took my leg and then he was going to pop it in. So he's holding my hips. And
they're both loving this.
I don't know. The kid looked nervous as hell. He's sweating. And the other guy, maneuvered my leg just right, and then you could feel it and you can hear it when it happens. And I kid you not, that kid's face turned like 3 shades of green.
Like he did not like it.
And I'm like, you are new at this. You are so new. And they're all looking at me now, and it hurts for that split second. It hurts really, really bad. Up until then, it's just like a dull ache. But
yeah.
After it's in, it feels great. It's fine. And I popped up and I walked out of there.
I really can't say I would have handled that the same way. I really feel like I would have been like
curling under a table.
No, I would have like, I think my natural response with like that type of embarrassment, like lunchtime, Chipotle, middle of downtown Phoenix. Yeah, I know the clientele going in there.
For a disaster. Yeah.
I think I would have been like, just fucking play dead.
Pretend you're unconscious. Pretend you hit your head. Shut your eyes. Keep it closed.
Don't breathe. Don't take a deep breath. Don't do whatever you have to. Like, or I really would have been like, please just drag me to the back. I need to be alone.
Do you have a sheet? Over me? There was nothing I could do but just sit
make
there
me a dead body,
and
please.
answer the random question like, "Oh, those heels." Yeah, they're like, can you get up?" No, I can't. I just
give us a time. Like, what's the time frame that you feel like you were on the floor? Like, I know when things happen, we always feel like it's like a lot longer. But how long do you think you sat on the nasty floor of Chipotle for?
Probably 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's a long time for me.
It was before they showed up, and then give it another few for them to figure out what how they're going to make this happen.
Yeah,
yeah.
Clearly, they made the young kid do
and they all laughed at him the whole way walking me out. They took me out to the truck just to blood pressure and such. And of course, they never just show up quietly. I mean, they didn't do lights and sirens, but there was an ambulance and there was a fire truck with them. It was just
they brought the whole crew,
the whole thing, and of course they had to shut down like all this parking. So now they got angry people everywhere trying to figure out who ruined their parking and lunchtime. But I remember that whole time the kid was more embarrassed than I was at that point. They were just like, you can't handle this. What are you going to do when, because he got real green. I'm telling you, he looked like he was going to pass out. He looked more uncomfortable than I did when he heard my hip pop back into its socket.
I'm always so grateful for like obviously law enforcement and fire and
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like every time I encounter them, because of like what our husbands do for work,
mm-hmm.
I feel like there's going to be some type of moment where I'm like, oh, we're good here. Like, no. We're good. Like, we don't need you. I'll, and I want to like call Jared because I'm like, oh, he's going to find out.
Oh, yeah.
Had to call someone today. I think I told you about the time Reagan got stuck in the chair at the gym.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So my family owned a gymnastics facility, and this little one of ours, our youngest, she was probably 2 or 3 at the time, and I had an office chair that kind of spun, and she used to like sit in it and kind of like straddle it and put her legs through the armhole part. And I was in the front office.
Mm-hmm.
And let me rewind a little bit. So we, at the gym, just about every year, we'd have these like first responder type events where a fire truck would come out and the SWAT team would bring trucks out, and Mesa police would come out with motorcycles and things of that nature. And it was a lot of fun for the kids. And so we saw a lot of first responders come to the gym. A lot of them were our clientele. Like they would bring their kids in.
Mm-hmm.
And so this day, Reagan is in my office and she's spinning around in this chair, and I get up from the front desk and I go and check on her like pretty often, and I'm like, hey, be careful, don't fall off the chair.
Yeah, don't
is
hit
what
your
I
head.
kept saying.
Yeah, don't fall off and hit your head. The
don't
things you
fall.
expect, of a kid. Yeah.
So I hear this like scream that I've never heard before. And at this time, I'm in the gym. Like I'm into the gym, but I can hear her scream. So I run back to my office. This kid had gotten herself literally stuck in the chair. Like her chunky little thigh was like stuck in the chair. So I hollered at our oldest and I said, like, come over here. I need you to help me. I need you to get me pull this part of the chair with me. We need to get her leg out. And it's not working. I said, go get the toolbox. We need to like take the arm off the chair. Like she's like, ow, ow, ow. She's like screaming that this hurts so bad when we're trying to move her. So after like probably 15 minutes more, maybe, we decide we're not getting this kid out of the chair. And so I'm like, gosh, damn it. call the fire department. Yep. Call the fire department. Yep. So explaining to them why I'm calling them, first of all, I was like, oh, my kid is stuck in a chair. Yeah. And they're like, oh, ha, 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 we'll get them there, right? And I'm like, no, but really, she's stuck in the chair, like her leg hurts, like she's 3. So they get there, and these guys like, love all you firefighters, but kind of walk in all macho, and they're like, yeah, you know, oh, we got this. Yeah. And I was like, you really don't. She's like stuck in the chair. So they think they can come over and like just pull apart like we had tried to get her leg out. Mm-hmm. Doesn't work. So a little while after that, after a good probably 10 minutes of trying to like get her out of the chair, and her little leg is all like red and like bruised everywhere. Because she's wearing a little leotard at the time. Okay. So she's all like bruised everywhere and red. One of them goes outside to get those big, like,
great.
Like,
that's not scary.
What are those called?
Jaws of life?
Yeah. Like, no, I mean, it's probably wasn't that, but like big, like, I'm going to call them big fire truck scissors.
Yeah.
To like cut her out of the chair. Yeah. So as he's walking back in the building with these like big, huge, like, fire truck scissors. Sorry, all you firefighters.
Somebody please tell us what these things are called.
Someone please tell us what they're called. There's like 3 or 4 of them around the chair, one holding Reagan, the others pulling apart the chair, and they finally get her loose. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I told you it wasn't going to be that easy.
Yeah. Do you think I didn't try this already?
Right.
I'm not a dummy.
But then I was like, I had to call Jared and tell him like, hi, we had an encounter with 911 today. Mm-hmm. And you probably got a text message that I called the fire department. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like embarrassing that I have to do that kind of stuff. But they saved the kid. She's not stuck in the chair anymore. I wish she were still stuck in a chair. And then they took all the kids that were there at the gym, like around the fire truck, and gave them stickers and pictures. Yeah.
Because they're probably all just watching like,
yeah, but it's just the encounter alone.
Yeah.
I think because of what he does that I'm like, can I get through this on my own? Do I need to call someone for reinforcement or backup?
Yeah.
That's not my husband. And are we going to be good here? Like, yeah. And so anytime it gets to the point where I've got to call for like other assistance, I would have rather played dead in your situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
play dead till about 2:00 when lunchtime's over.
Yeah. It was pretty awful. For whatever reason, that didn't embarrass me nearly as much as finding out what I did with that coyote. But I think it's because my embarrassment quickly turned to anger when I realized how people are awful. Like just, no one tried to like help me or ask what I needed or.
But it's the world we live in. That's like okay. Totally off subject here, but like people are kind of awful, right? Like
absolutely.
If I have something in my teeth, tell me.
Yeah.
If someone's zipper's down, please tell them. Yeah. Like
we don't be a good human.
Yeah, we don't need their friend popping out anytime. Like just tell them. And typically I say that because like less women I think leave their zipper down.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I think it's how they go like they go to the bathroom different than we do.
Yeah.
That's just an assumption.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We don't know. We're just guessing here.
To each their own.
Yeah.
But but like don't be a shitty human, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell people.
just speak up. Say something.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's embarrassing moments.
Yeah, that's enough.
I know we have more of them, but we'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah. Tell us yours, please. And of course, anonymous if you want them to be, but we will read them out. I mean, this is, let us know we're not alone. Let us know. And if you've rescued a coyote, please tell me because I think I am alone in that. But if there's anyone who's done anything like that, I would love to know. It'd make me feel a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that you rescued a coyote, but
I tried. I got close.
Yeah.
A part of me kind of wishes I had done it just to see where that would have gone.
I don't think you can domesticate that, but
could you imagine if I got it? Like I'll just take it home. I'll just take it home, and the first person that comes to visit me and see how that goes.
I don't think it would have been good.
No, probably not. Nope.
All right,
guys.
Till next time.
Bye.